If you feel afraid or too shy to participate in class, you've found the right video. Hi, I'm Skye, and I want to share with you the things I remind myself of when I'm getting anxious about speaking up to boost my confidence. It works every time. And as a certified, usually confident girl, trademark, I can also tell you that us confident kids are not much different than you are. And if you're not there yet, you can and will be soon. Let's start. Firstly, most other students in class want to go home and could care less about what you or anybody has to say. That's what I tell myself. So you don't have to worry about them because they will literally just not listen to you, realize that you're talking, or remember anything about what they hear. They might be thinking about their crush or how they want to go horse riding later, they're on their phones or whatever. So really nothing to worry about at all. So next we have the people left who are actually listening to what is being said during the lesson. For this point, however, we must first make a separation between marked and unmarked participation. If the participation is unmarked, it's quite simple. Everyone who hears about this stuff will understand that you want to go for it. They care about the marks themselves and are trying to be the one answering or asking questions, just like you are. Nothing special or weird about what you're doing. The only reason why they would want you to not speak up is because they don't want a smart girl like you to be their competition. If you start to become a regular speaker in class, it takes time away from them. But you are as entitled to speak up as they are. And again, if they themselves have common sense, they will understand that this is just how the rules of the game for good marks go. So even if what you say is not perfect, it's part of the game. You want to participate, and that's just what you do. I had an outrageous but also funny situation like that recently in a business class. It was about industry evolution, so fairly technical, with marked participation. Quite frankly, it was horrible because everyone kept shoehorning questions in order to have something to contribute to class. This reached the point that our teacher kept getting interrupted like every 3 minutes because someone had a question, and as soon as someone asked a question, more people would chime in as well, and it started getting on my nerves, to be honest. It was so much, and it was always questions that you could tell were just being said to get participation. But then again, I wanted my participation marks as well, so I understand. But at the height of this, 7 people had already asked something about one detail that the teacher said. It wasn't like a grandiose concept, it was like a small remark. Yes, 7, and it was not something complex, I promise. It was really, really not that deep. And there was this one guy left who had his hand raised. He was sitting right behind me, and we were about to move on, and so the teacher calls on him, and he literally starts a sentence with, so to sum up the previous points, Aristotle once said, and then he said a quote by Aristotle. We're in a business class. Why? So side advice, don't give unsolicited summaries based on quotes from the ancient Greece world if it's not the right setting at all. If it's a philosophy, politics setting, maybe, but if we already had 7 people talking about this one specific business thing, don't sum up people's stuff in general, but also then don't put it together with a pretentious quote about Aristotle when that was not the topic at all. But anyway, moving on. Next, even if the participation is not marked, in my opinion, it's very much so worth it. It's what carried me through middle and high school and got me a stellar GPA in the end. I swear by it. That's because of 2 reasons. It makes it easier for me to focus because I have to make sure that I keep up in order to be able to ask the right questions and that I do not repeat a question someone else has said before. Another side advice, if you don't want to get on anyone's nerves, don't repeat stuff. Pay attention. Make sure you do not, if it's a question or something someone said, doesn't matter. Try not to repeat things because it makes it boring, right? And then the other thing is that it makes you look good in the eyes of the teacher or professor, which can be very, very beneficial for your grading. You see, when your teacher finalizes your grade, he or she can either think to themselves like, oh yeah, the girl who's super engaged in class and asks smart questions, she deserves a high grade. Or be like, who dat? Oh well, they must be mid. Like, they're humans. They're gonna be influenced by their perception of you, so you can influence it to be positive. So even if it's ungraded and the teacher still wants an active classroom, so not like a lecture, it can get very, very awkward if no one says anything. And this is your ideal time to shine with participation. So many of my college classes are like this, and it's very uncomfortable because we have the teacher in front and he's like, oh, who has any questions? Who wants to answer my question? And no one says anything, and then it's like 3 minutes of awkward silence until the teacher very awkwardly says, okay, moving on. So many people don't want to say anything, maybe out of laziness, but especially in college, it's more likely because they are either shy themselves or because they couldn't keep up with the lecture and are therefore unable to participate because they didn't understand the prior points. So this is the point where you speaking up is actually supported by your classmates. You're doing them a favor, which should boost your confidence tremendously because it's doing good for the community. Multiple times so far, I've had classmates literally thank me for speaking up and asking questions they could not think of themselves, or for engaging in class to make it more fun and to prevent the awkward silence. So one time in my international relations class, we were doing like a role play debate sort of thing, and I had a lot of fun with this. I love these kinds of things, but I was also quite insecure because I was speaking by far the most, and I was afraid that I came across as like doing too much or hogging the debate and stuff. But then after class, this guy comes up to me. I've never really spoken, like we weren't friends or anything, we knew each other, and he actually literally says, thank you for carrying the discussion, that was awesome. And then his two friends chime in and they say the same thing, all the while I was really insecure about, again, doing too much. And they all did not want to say anything in class, and they're so glad that I took it upon myself, that's how they felt about it, to fill the speaking time so they wouldn't be like called on by surprise by the professor. I was like, oh, that's a nice way of saying of looking at it. And that also leads me to the next point, which is specifically when you're afraid to ask a question because you don't understand something, but you don't want to look dumb, you know? So firstly, I promise you, you are not the only one who does not understand. There is going to be at least one other person who's as lost as you are. Really, you're not astonishingly dumb. I don't know you, but I know, you know? And even if you are, be a little selfish. This is about your success, and if you don't understand, you are entitled to ask questions. That is the sole reason why the teacher is there, to make sure that you understand the stuff and so that you can have your questions be answered. You want to get awesome grades, so you have to make it easy for yourself, as easy as possible, and asking questions definitely helps with that because you can clarify the things you're struggling with right then and there. Don't have to carry them home with you and then try to find an obscure video on YouTube to solve your problems. And so what if someone thinks that the topic is so easy? First of all, the normal people would welcome your question as a lovely opportunity. Like the normal people who understand what's going on would welcome this as an opportunity to break away from listening because, as I said before, they're probably very engaged in class as well in order to keep up, in order to not ask questions twice. So if they realize that there's an opportunity for them to have a mental pause, they will welcome that. That's a positive thing. They're thankful to you in that moment. That's how I feel, at least. And if there's others who are judging you, what does that say about them? Like, they get a feeling of superiority because they understand a concept that you struggle with. Okay, congrats. Like, that's not an accomplishment. We all have strengths and weaknesses, and honestly, it's more that they're more likely to be insecure about something themselves. It reminds me a little bit of like gym insecurity, when people are insecure about going to the gym for the first time. Like, the real gym bros and sporty girls would never make fun of you for going to the gym for the first time, because first of all, they know how it feels to be in your position to start off with something like going to the gym, and then also because they want you to enjoy it and they want you to join the community of fit people. Why would they bully you out of it? They want you to be there because they love the sport and they want to share it with more people. It's only the insecure people who feel the need to make fun of people who struggle with something that they themselves are supposedly good at, to make themselves better about, or to make themselves feel better about something. So the real pretty smart girls, they should encourage you to ask questions and to learn something to get good marks. That's what we're here for, to encourage each other, because we all win if we have academic success. And again, most of the time you are, I swear, not the only person who does not understand. It might actually be a sign that you are ahead of some others in terms of understanding, because it does take a certain level of knowledge to even be able to ask a question. I had this once in my second semester of college. The professor asked us to send in questions, and then he would answer them in the next and last session. And it was a pretty hard class, so I sent him a few questions. So the next day, we're about 40 students present. The professor started off with answering my questions. I was like, oh, lucky. And then he did not move on to any others. I was like, huh? That is because I was the only person who had sent in questions. And it's not like nobody had any. Like, the friends I was there with, all of them told me that they felt like they were not yet on the level to even come up with questions. And again, there were about 40 kids present in total, and they were all just there because they were hoping that other people had already sent in questions so they could at least copy them down and learn something from them. So it wasn't like I was the idiot who was the only one who didn't understand something. No, it's like everyone was in the same boat. And then finally, I want to talk about the power of volume. Amount, not noise. So if you say one thing only, you can forever be known for that thing only, right? If it's only one, that's like your one thing. But if you speak more often, you have a chance to get better, and it also dilutes the significance of your individual contributions. So if you're the pretty girl in class, but known for being quiet, and then suddenly you say something, it can almost be like a rare event. Even the people I mentioned in the beginning, the ones that never listen, they're suddenly interested because like, oh, she's saying something that never happens. And that can create pressure, right? If you start speaking up more often than just once in a blue moon, then it just becomes normal. And even if you say something embarrassing or your voice cracks or whatever, people have forgotten the next time you say something again, which is inevitably going to be normal. Don't worry, it's not like you're gonna fail every time. And that can be as soon as 5 minutes after. My voice cracks all the time. I was, for some reason in middle school, going through some kind of, I don't know what was happening, but my voice was cracking like crazy. It was quite funny, but also no one remembers me as that person because I speak so much. You could probably tell by watching this video that it didn't even have the chance to establish as a sort of character trait or something. And you know, sometimes embarrassing things are not forgotten. Like, I still vividly remember how this one kid once confidently misspoke during a biology presentation and ended up saying orgasm instead of organism. And I truly could not care less at all, and it does not make me think badly about him whatsoever. Because maturing is realizing that this is, if anything, a funny mistakes, and mistakes happen. So what? I hope this helps. But I want to love to hear what my pretty smart and supportive girls think. So you, do you have any funny moments to share, or do you have any quotes that help you with your confidence? Let me know in the comments. See you all in the next video, and good luck with your next exam. Bye!